Hey everyone, welcome back. You know we love a good deep dive, and this one's all about you specifically, your amazing brain.
It's true. We're tackling mental health and well-being, especially for those of you juggling a million things at once. Sound familiar?
Because, let's face it, who isn't busy these days?
Mm-hmm.
And trying to learn and grow on top of everything else, that's why we're digging into the College Student's Guide to Mental Health.
It's packed with useful tips, and we're here to break them down into bite-sized pieces you can actually use.
Exactly. We're all about practical advice here.
No fluff, just real strategies for feeling better, because mental health isn't a luxury, right?
Absolutely not. It's fundamental.
Mm.
And this book really drives that point home, which I love. It's not just for folks who are struggling, it's for everyone.
It's about being proactive, building a solid foundation for your well-being, whether you're acing your classes or feeling totally overwhelmed.
Totally. It's like, remember that phrase the book uses? Personal body culture. I'd never heard it before, but it kind of clicked for me.
Oh yeah, it's about paying attention to what your body's trying to tell you. Like sometimes we just power through, ignoring all the signs.
Oh, 100%. I'm the queen of, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But this book made me rethink that whole approach.
Same here. It really highlights how important those little signals are, those aches, pains, those just not feeling quite right moments.
Because usually, they're trying to tell us something.
Right, exactly. Like that example they give about headaches. So relatable. It's easy to just pop a pill and keep studying, but...
But what if it's actually stress or anxiety? Your body's like, hey, pay attention here.
Right. It's not being dramatic, it's giving you crucial information. And the book encourages you to actually listen to that information, to work with your body, not against it.
Which is a nice segue into another biggie the book tackles, sleep.
Yeah.
We all know we should be getting enough.
But it's tough, right? Especially with crazy schedules.
Tell me about it. I'm always tempted to stay up late finishing assignments, even if I'm exhausted.
Oh, I get it. But this book really digs into the why behind sleep. It's not just about feeling less groggy, it's about those circadian rhythms.
Oh yeah, those internal clocks that keep everything running smoothly.
Right, and when you mess with those rhythms, even a little bit.
It's like giving your body jet lag without the fun of traveling. I'm looking at you, all-nighters.
Seriously, and the book mentions that even waking up an hour later than usual can throw you off.
It's crazy how sensitive our bodies are. It's like, give them a consistent sleep schedule, please.
Exactly. It's not just about the number of hours, it's about going to bed and waking up around the same time each day as much as possible.
Which honestly is way easier said than done some weeks. But hey, it's something to strive for.
For sure. And here's where it gets interesting. The book makes a strong case for the link between sleep and anxiety.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. When I'm sleep deprived, everything feels 10 times worse. Like a minor inconvenience becomes a major crisis.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And it becomes this vicious cycle. You're anxious, so you can't sleep, so you're more anxious.
And on it goes. So basically, prioritizing sleep is like a mental health superpower.
I'd say so. And this book gives you permission to treat it that way, like a non-negotiable part of your routine.
Like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Something you just do no matter what.
Exactly. It's about that personal body culture, respecting your need for rest, just like you would any other basic need.
It's so true, that whole you got to respect your body's needs thing. And speaking of needs, this book is big on journaling. Have you jumped on that bandwagon?
Oh, journaling. It's one of those things I know is good for me, but actually sticking to it, yeah, that's the hard part. But this book makes a good point. Even a few minutes can be helpful.
Right. I used to think it had to be this big production, like, Dear Diary, here are the profound thoughts of my soul. It can be way simpler than that.
Totally. Just getting it out of your head and onto paper or, into your notes app, whatever works, it can really help you process things. Especially when it comes to those, let's call them not so helpful thoughts we all have sometimes.
Oh, you mean the ones where you fail one quiz and suddenly you're convinced your entire academic career is over? Asking for a friend.
Exactly. The book actually uses the term cognitive distortions for those. Basically, it's like our brains misinterpreting situations, often in a totally dramatic and negative way.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm the queen of catastrophizing. But it's reassuring to know that it's a thing. It's not just me being ridiculous.
Right. We all have these thought patterns to some extent. It's part of being human. The key is learning to recognize them and challenge them, which is what this book helps you do.
Give yourself a reality check, basically. And speaking of reality checks, let's talk relationships. This book goes deep on the importance of healthy ones. and not just the romantic kind.
Yeah. Friendships, mentors, even those professional connections you're starting to make, they're all important. And this time in your life, so much change, so many new people, it can be a lot.
For sure. And sometimes, let's be real, relationships can be stressful. Like, how do you know which ones to invest in?
Right. The book actually uses this fun analogy of a friend cake to illustrate the different layers of friendship.
Oh yeah, the friend cake, I love that part. You've got your inner circle, your ride or dies, the people you can always count on, and like, oh, the frosting.
Exactly. And then you've got your good friends, people you enjoy spending time with, but maybe you're not quite as close with. The middle layer of the cake.
And then the base layer, those are more like acquaintances. You see them around, maybe chat a bit in class, but it's not a deep connection.
Yeah. And the book encourages you to think about what your own friend cake looks like. Are all the layers balanced? Are there any relationships that are more draining than nourishing?
Because sometimes you have to let go, even if it's hard.
Yeah.
Make space for those connections that truly matter.
It's tough, but it's so worth it. And that goes for mentor relationships, too. The book had a whole section on communicating with professors, which can feel intimidating.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially in those big lecture hall classes where you feel like just another face in the crowd.
I'm always terrified to email professors. Like, what if my questions are dumb?
I get it. But the book gives some good tips, like how to write a professional email that actually gets a response. And remember, you're not bothering them. It's literally their job to help you learn.
True. And if a certain professor just isn't a good fit, it's okay to seek support elsewhere. TAs, tutors, even classmates can be amazing resources. You don't have to go it alone.
Right. And it all comes back to that self-compassion thing. You deserve support, and asking for it is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Which I think is a message a lot of us need to hear, especially in the pressure cooker of college. It really is about being kind to yourself, isn't it?
And speaking of being kind to yourself, one thing that really stood out in this book was the emphasis on boundaries. Not just with other people, but also with ourselves.
Oh, definitely. Setting boundaries with others, that's important for sure. Saying no to that extra project, not overcommitting to social events when you're already swamped.
Yes. It's like learning to protect your time and energy, right?
Exactly. But then there's that next level, setting boundaries with ourselves. That one can be tricky.
Oh, tell me about it. Like, how many times have you said yes to staying up late to cram for a test, even though you knew you were running on fumes?
Right, or convincing yourself that you should be able to power through this massive to-do list even though you're completely burnt out.
It's those internal shoulds, right? Those expectations we put on ourselves, they can be brutal.
Totally. And the book encourages you to really examine those shoulds, to question whether they're actually serving you or just keeping you stuck in this cycle of stress and exhaustion.
It's about giving yourself permission to prioritize your well-being, even if it means saying no to things that seem important on the surface, or even to those demanding voices in our own heads.
Absolutely. And on that note, the book dives into some helpful techniques for managing those not so helpful thought patterns we talked about earlier, those cognitive distortions that can really spiral.
Oh yeah, like meditation. I'll admit, that's always been a bit intimidating to me. I imagine myself trying to sit still, clear my mind, and it just backfires.
I hear you. A lot of people have that initial resistance to meditation, but this book does a good job of demystifying it. It's not about emptying your mind completely. It's more about observing your thoughts without judgment, just letting them come and go.
Okay, that actually sounds doable.
Right. And you don't have to spend hours doing it. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a difference. The book even includes some simple techniques to get you started, like focusing on your breath or doing a body scan.
See, those are the kinds of practical tips I love. It makes meditation seem much more approachable.
Definitely. And then there's another powerful practice the book talks about, gratitude. It sounds simple, but focusing on what you're grateful for can really shift your perspective.
I've heard of gratitude journals. Do you do that?
You know, I've tried it on and off. The key is to make it a habit, even just jotting down a few things each day that you appreciate. It could be something as small as the delicious cup of coffee or a sunny day. It helps to train your brain to focus on the positive.
It's like that saying, what you focus on expands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're constantly dwelling on the negative, you're going to see more negativity. But if you can cultivate a sense of gratitude, you're more likely to notice and appreciate the good things, even amidst challenges. And honestly, all of these practices, setting boundaries, challenging negative thoughts, practicing mindfulness, cultivating gratitude, It's not about achieving some perfect state of zen.
It's more like building up your mental fitness, right? Giving yourself the tools and resources to navigate whatever life throws your way.
Exactly. It's about becoming more resilient, more equipped to handle those inevitable ups and downs. And this book really emphasizes that it's a journey, not a destination. There's no finish line when it comes to mental health. It's an ongoing process.
So true. And sometimes you might need a little extra support along the way, which the book acknowledges. There's a whole section on finding a therapist if you need professional help.
Which is so important to normalize. There's still so much stigma around mental health, but seeking help when you need it, that takes courage. And the book offers some really practical advice on finding a therapist who's a good fit, what to ask, what red flags to watch out for.
It really is a comprehensive guide. But ultimately, I think the biggest takeaway is that self-compassion piece.
100%. Taking care of your mental health is not selfish, it's essential. And this book really drives that message home in a way that's relatable and actionable.
Absolutely. And on that note, to all our listeners out there, remember, you're not alone in this journey. We all face challenges. We all experience stress and overwhelm sometimes. But by incorporating some of these insights and strategies, hopefully you can cultivate greater well-being, more resilience, more joy in your life. And remember, prioritizing your mental health is a gift to yourself and to the world. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and take good care of yourselves.